Brought to you by... The legend has been reborn, introducing the new Hoyo de Monterey. At Hoyo, they're about craft. From seed to soil to sunshine and rain, they obsess over their labors. With skillful hands and passionate souls, they create. They do not settle. They do not concede. They are Hoyo de Monterey, and this is their craft. Experience the uniquely handcrafted Hoyo de Monterey at hoyocigars.com. Paying homage to the Mecca of tobacco, Pinar del Rio, Cuba, Abe Flores opened his PDR cigar factory in the Dominican Republic over 10 years ago. Abe is one of the hottest boutique cigar makers in the industry today, earning the number 10 spot on Cigar Aficionado's Top 25 Cigars of 2014 with the Abe Flores 1975 Serie Privada. Abe and his team use Cuban blending traditions in a modern boutique Dominican factory. Smoke PDR cigars and cut, light, and taste what they love to do. Brought to you by Rocky Patel Premium Cigars, the Tabacero by Hamlet Paredes, developed and blended by Cuban master of tobacco, Hamlet Paredes. This cigar is an exciting addition to the Patel family, featuring traditional and rare sizes hand-picked by Hamlet himself. Smoke Tabacero by Hamlet Paredes today. For more information, visit them on the web at rockypatel.com and be sure to follow Rocky Patel Premium Cigars on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Welcome back, everyone, to the Stogie Geek Show. This is our Stogies of the Week segment. Will, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, so I'll kind of disclaim that all these cigars I smoked were several days before I got sick. So I'm disclaiming that because sometimes when you get sick, your palate could be shot.
Okay.
Can you hear? Oh, you can hear me?
Yes, I can. Sorry, I was bringing up my Stogies of the Week. So
Okay. So the first one I smoked was a cigar, and I'd smoked this one before. It's a cigar by the folks at Mombacho Cigars called the Tierra Volcan.
Mm-hmm.
And I smoked the a size that was released at the trade show last year called the Fino. Which is a 6x44 Lonsdale size. And
they get some interesting sizes from that company, Will.
Yeah, they do. They have that little short Robusto, that 4x50.
Yeah,
Porto.
I like that one. Yep.
I've had mixed reaction with the Tierra Volcan cigars.
Me too. Depends on the size. It
depends on the size, but and this one I would say is probably somewhere in the middle, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one problem I have with their cigars is it sometimes has a sour component.
See, I find also sometimes they have way too much of an earthy component. And I don't know if there's that like volcano-like soil that they grow in that. We had them on the show. It's a really cool story.
Yeah.
But it has a really heavy earthy component to it.
Where is that?
It's off the coast of Nicaragua. Is that true, Will?
The volcano?
Yeah, they grow in a region where there's a volcano, and I want to say is it off the coast of Nicaragua?
Well, there's an area in Lake Nicaragua called Ometepe.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's not Ometepe tobacco in this blend, but most of the regions in Nicaragua are affected by the volcanoes.
Oh, of
the
course,
volcanic soil. Yeah, so they are. So this has a lot of condega, and there's a condega component, particularly in the binder and the filler, which will give it that earthy component. And that's what I would say it is with this one, is it had more of an earthy component with some cedar. It wasn't a very flashy cigar, but it wasn't a bad cigar either. Medium, I would say it's a medium. I think it's got a little more kick in this Fino size, where it's more of a medium to full in terms of strength and body, where some of those other sizes, I think it's more towards the medium. I gave this a 5. I think, like I said, if you've tried this blend, you definitely owe it to try the Fino and see what you think. But to your point, Paul, it is going to have more of that earthy profile.
Yeah, and some people like that, and if that's your thing, that's
there
fine.
are some of those blends. Like I said, I've had some sourness, and I think it's more of a testament of time we need with the cigar.
Mm-hmm.
This one had a touch of that sourness, but not terrible. It wasn't overwhelming.
So, well, I guess I'll start with this one because it's first on my list. I smoked a Churchill-sized cigar. This is an 1876 Reserve. Let me talk about this cigar first, and then I'll tell you where it comes from. So I'm trying to get through. So I smoked this first thing in the morning with coffee, some notes of hay and sweetness. I have to say that it's a really, really mild cigar. And I kind of knew a little bit of the story behind the cigar when I smoked it, but I tried to put that out of my mind. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, this is a pretty decent cigar. I'm like, I would smoke this first thing in the morning with coffee to mix up my rotation. Like, I mean, when I say first thing in the morning, I'm like pre-breakfast. Like, this is a mild cigar. Like, pre-breakfast, I would have coffee, have the cigar, and it's perfect for that. It's not going to overwhelm you with flavors, but, it's predominantly hay and some sweetness, most likely Dominican tobacco in this cigar, but it's pretty good. I would smoke it on the boat while I'm fishing. I would smoke it, around the yard kind of thing. I would smoke it if I haven't eaten and I got to do some grilling kind of thing. It's that kind of cigar. And it was pretty good. And my rating on it was a 5, right? Now when I tell you like where it's going to come from, you're going to be pretty surprised at all the things that I said about it. This is a bundle cigar.
Yeah.
Again, it's a Churchill size. It's $1.50 bundle cigar.
No way.
Now, for me, and I knew it was $1.50 bundle cigar when I smoked it, but I'm like, I'm just going to smoke this. And I'm like, and one of my friends, actually Danny from the lounge, gave it to me. He's like, dude, I smoke this all the time. He's like, Danny's like, I smoke a ton of cigars during the day. So, like, he's like, I'm not independently wealthy, so I got to find stuff that's pretty good to smoke because I want to smoke 10 cigars in a day. And if that's your thing, that's cool. But I'm like, you know what? For $1.50, I'm like, I call this a 5 in my rating. But for $1.50 a cigar, even plus shipping, like I would buy a bundle to have in my humidor.
Right.
It's like what like
for when people come over and
I would give them to
they're
my
going to
friends.
smoke a 1/4 inch and throw it in the fire.
$1.50 cigar. But the thing is, like, I smoked the whole thing, and I'm like, that was a pretty good cigar. Like, it wasn't like what you think you're going to get out of it. Like a $1.50 bundle cigar. Most of us Stogie geeks are like, we're going to take a few puffs, and that's it. It's going to end up in the ashtray. And I tell you what, a lot of cigars that don't make it to the review section of this show cost way more than $1.50.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And I smoke a few puffs, and I'm like, I can't do this. And then I go back to it again to give it a fair shake, and I'm like, I still can't do this. This was a $1.50 bundle cigar that was worthy of a 5 rating, in my opinion. So, again, it's called the 1876 Reserve. Our mutual friend Danny, I think found like a gem in these bundles, and there aren't very many bundle cigars that I'll smoke.
Yeah.
But this would be one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that because I said the same thing to you, Paul. I said
Yeah.
there's very few bundle cigars that I'll smoke.
I smoke our bundle cigars, the premium selection, the Christoph premium selection, the natural and the Maduro. Well, the natural, it's all Dominican. The Maduro, on the blend thing, it says it's Dominican, but it's actually a Rapiraca Brazilian Maduro that we use in our regular stuff. And when I golf, I smoke.
There you go.
We have like a Viajante size, which is gigantic, and I'll smoke one of those, And
what's it, like $2 or $3 or something?
$3.50 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really, really cheap, and it smokes great because it's, again, the wrappers, most of the character of the cigar, and this has a good wrapper.
Right.
So
yeah. So don't discount bundle cigars. I think they have their place.
Is that mix filler? It had to be.
I don't know. I think it's a long filler cigar. It smoked like a long filler cigar. It didn't burn really fast or hot or anything like that.
No.
I mean, it didn't burn like the best cigar. Like this cigar is burning, especially it's a Salomon. I mean, this cigar is burning perfectly.
We will have only smoked one cigar on this show.
And it is burning perfectly, and the flavor is absolutely spot on, right? With bundle cigars, the rumor that I always heard was that new rollers learn how to roll with bundle cigars.
Mix filler.
Yeah. So this is like, it's not as bad as if I were to try to roll a cigar, right? But, it's obviously someone that's learning, and that's why I think the cost is where it is. But I'm fine with that because the cost and the value is in line. You know what I'm saying? Like price factors into that whole thing, and I'm like, for $1.50, I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
And we've
right?
talked about this before. It's not about finding that unicorn like we always talk about, like the
Right.
Oro Blanco
Yeah.
or something like that. It's not about finding that. It's about being the guy in the room that spent the least but is having the best time.
That's time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's finding the best $9-10 cigar that you absolutely know knocks it out of the park every time, and sticking with that or trying stuff to try to find that profile. I mean, it's not about being the guy who's always smoking a Padron 50th or
Yeah.
always has the most expensive cigar in the room. It's being the guy who's sitting there enjoying himself the most and has spent the least.
And that, I mean, if I could enjoy a Padron 50th every day,
Oh, I would.
and smoke 5 or 6 of those a day, yeah, of course
Hell
I
yeah.
would. But like, we're all reasonable people, normal people that are on this show and listen to
Yeah.
this show. So I try and make sure that we're reviewing cigars that are, I mean, and this is the least expensive cigar we've ever reviewed on the show, I think.
Yeah.
Will, do you agree with that?
I don't think we've ever reviewed a $1.50 cigar.
And for it to be like a $5, like something I would give to you guys and be like, I mean, and I would tell you guys when I gave it to them, like, look, this is a $1.50 bundle cigar. Like, don't be overly critical of it because of the price point. But like, I mean, whatever. You smoke it and you enjoy it. I mean, it's not the best cigar you ever smoked, but I'm like, it's a $1.50 bundle cigar. What the hell?
Yeah, the only thing that came close to that was probably some of those age selects we were sponsored.
Yeah, age selects I would put in the same, in that same
They were,
category.
but I think they were a little more. I think they were a little
They
more.
were. They were a little more.
Yeah.
I agree. And the construction was probably a little better. Like the burn drawn construction was a little better on those. Not that this one was horrible. I mean, it's certainly smokable.
Right.
But yeah, I think, we're the Stogie Geeks, man. And our mission has always been like, smoke anything.
Yeah.
I mean, the drugstore White Owl
You
cigar.
don't need to review that.
No,
Yeah.
no. But, this is a hand-rolled, long filler tobacco cigar, like
For $1.50.
for $1.50.
That's killer. That's
Pretty good.
killer.
It's pretty good.
Exactly.
Back to you, Will.
So this cigar I smoked in anticipation of this show. You had spoke, Paul, a few weeks ago. The Vivolo Robusto.
Yeah, it was good. Vivolo makes some good cigars, dude.
They did. Now
yeah.
you gave it a 5. You gave it a 5er with some potential, from what I remember.
Yes, it needed a little. I think with some time in the humidor, it could progress beyond that 5er rating.
Now I had the Robusto Grande, which was a bigger size, and all those cigars are blended for the size and are meant to be somewhat different. And I really like that Robusto Grande. I thought that was actually a box worthy. But I wanted to smoke this Robusto size, and I pretty much was in agreement with you, Paul. I didn't think this one was quite. I didn't quite like it as much as the Robusto Grande. I thought it was definitely in that 5er range. I thought it was a little more dialed back than the Robusto Grande. I do think age may help it somewhat. I do agree for whatever reason. But I had it as a 5er. It's a good cigar. It's a good cigar, but I would go for that Robusto Grande each and every time, which that would be this one's a 4 7/8 by 50.
Nice.
I smoked something interesting this week. Have you've heard of the Turrent family?
Oh, I know which one. Did you smoke the Casa Turrent?
Yes.
I reviewed this a couple weeks ago. I want to hear what you had to say.
You did, Will. I remember this now.
So I smoked this, and you know what? I really was looking forward to smoking this cigar. I really would. I really was. Because I thought that it was an interesting story. The Turrent family, they what they make. They make They make Te Amo.
And they're Mexican San Andreas.
80% of the tobacco that comes out of Mexico comes out of the Turrent family's farm.
Yeah.
And they made Te Amo.
They make Te Amo.
I remember Will telling the story. They branched off on their own. They made this line.
And then they did it with Altadis, the triple play, and all that stuff through Altadis. So I smoked the Casa Turrent, and it was the box press Robusto. And I really wanted to like this cigar. I really did. I went into it really wanted to like it. But I just think that San Andreas, that Mexican tobacco profile is good component-wise. Like as a wrapper, the San Andreas wrapper's come a long way. It's become a great, a good wrapper. But all of it together just had this really sort of muddled taste profile for me. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was probably one of the more interesting cigars that I've smoked ever, because I am and I'm a guy who smokes a lot of cigars from a lot of different companies, and like you guys are, and I have not tasted something that had a profile like this in a very, very, very long time. It had this very unbelievably earthy sort of, just really earthy. Like, that's the only word I can really use for it. I mean, I would try one, I would try one. They're definitely interesting compared to a lot of the stuff that I smoked, but I had a really interesting experience with this cigar. I mean, it's something that I would tell cigar smokers, like, when you see it, it's new, try it and see if that profile does something for you. But it was just a lot earthy. It was just a little bit outside of my wheelhouse with that earthiness.
Now, did you smoke the 5 1/4 by 50 or the 5 3/4 by 52?
The 50.
Okay, I haven't had the 50. I had the 52. So I'm just kind of curious if maybe that, with the small ring gauge, that obviously that wrapper could just be playing more on that as opposed to some of the fillers, and because there is a little bit of Nicaraguan mixed in that blend.
Yeah.
Well, you really like that cigar, Will.
I liked it, but I had not had the size. Again, we talk about size.
Different
man.
sizes. Yep, you smoke different sizes.
I had a different size than Jared, but I liked it. I had it as a box split. I didn't quite. I thought it had a little more going on it than the earthiness of it, but I could see that maybe in the smaller ring doing that.
Smoke it, Will, and let me know what you think, because I really, again, and this is a cigar that a lot of times I pick up a cigar and I don't know anything about it, initially, until I smoke it, and then I look it up, and I try not to go in with any expectations. But this cigar, I knew the backstory, I knew the Turrent family, I knew what it was about. I knew it was going to be Mexican tobacco primarily, and I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. And you know what? It was interesting, but it was just a little that profile was just a little much for me.
I want to take a quick side note here. If we can switch to my camera. This is Stogie Geeks Moonshine. Did you know we had our own line of moonshine, Will?
About a few minutes ago, I found out.
So Big Pete came in and delivered this to us in the studio. Oh, I can see there's cinnamon sticks in there. And I tell you what, this is like no other moonshine I've ever tasted in my life. It is like taking a full swig of apple pie.
Yeah.
And I love apple pie.
Apple pie.
I mean, not as much as like American pie, apple pie.
Yeah.
Yeah. not that kind of. I mean, I love it, but not quite that much.
Yeah.
But I do love apple pie, and it is like drinking apple pie.
Yeah.
So I noticed it's in a nice Stogie Geeks bottle.
It is.
Yeah, it is going to be a new
wants
business.
To he wants to like co-market this as like Stogie Geeks Moonshine.
And he agreed with an 80-20 split with Stogie Geeks with us.
I assume that was 80 to us.
We get 80,
yeah, 80, and he gets 20.
Yeah, that's a fair deal.
That's really a fair
good.
deal.
I gotta try that.
Shout out to Big Pete.
I tell you what, it's really good.
Yeah, and thank you for being such an excellent businessman and offering us such an enticing proposition.
Absolutely,
because we really appreciate
Will
it.
and I we're ready to sign. We got our pens up. Where do we sign?
Yeah. But Pete's awesome, man. He's been with us for a long time with the show.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of, you guys were describing the what did you call it?
Turrent.
Casa
Turrent.
I smoked a Balmoral Royal Selection Añejo 18 Rothschild Massivo.
That's a lot of names.
Is this
the cigar, Will? I hear you say
I'm gonna apologize. I'm not okay.
Politically correct. I will say, Will, this did not line up with your palate. Is that correct? Okay. And
that's the best way to say it. And that's a fair way to say it, yes.
And Drew Estate sent us, this came with a whole bunch of cigars that Drew Estate sent to us, in addition to a lot of other cigar media folks. And I've been letting this one sit for a little while, knowing that Will really didn't like this cigar. But today I was like, you know what? Will and I's palates don't always line up. And I've smoked some other Balmorals, and I'm like, I kind of really like them. They're good. When I lit this cigar up, the first third made me pay so much attention to it because it was just so weird. And not like weird in a bad way or weird in a good way, but like you were saying, like you just get flavors and you're like, what is that? I don't
weird,
like
yeah.
that is just I had to go next door and have Brenda. I'm like, Brenda, she's like, what do you need, sweetie? I'm like, can you just smoke this cigar for me? Like, tell me what you're getting, because I'm like confused. Like, I don't know what's going on. And the best thing I could say is, well, first of all, the tobacco was very well aged and very smooth. And that was what made it weird, because the flavors I were getting weren't bad, but it was like these notes of like in the first third, like it had this like stale dried fruit and herbal components, which when I describe those, they sound bad, but it's not bad. It was just weird. Like that first third was just like this really weird journey through flavors and taste for me. And I didn't quite know what to make of it. The flavors didn't quite like meld together for me, but I'm like, I'm going to stick with it because kind of as it's progressing. And I tell you what, when I got to the second third and the final third, that weirdness kind of went away, and it got like the sweet flavor, and it was a really good smooth cigar with the like subtle sweetness, and like a lot of those other like weird flavor dimensions went away, but it really smoothed out, and it was a really good cigar. So I think age will kind of help those, like that weirdness go away, but I enjoyed it. Like in the first third, I was really kind of like thrown through a loop. I'm like, what's going on? Like, I don't even know where I am. I was like taking acid. I'm like, where am I? What is going on?
What year is it?
I had to like get another opinion. But then right as soon as I got through that first third, I'm like, oh, now it's pretty good. Now it's like good sweetness, a little bit of spice. It was tough to pinpoint exactly what the flavors were, but I got a good sweetness from it. I'm like, this is a really good, enjoyable cigar. So my rating on this was a 5, but however, I think that the tobacco is well aged, which contributes to that smoothness component, right? I could tell like it wasn't young tobacco, but I think age will help those flavors kind of like meld together a little more, which age tends to do for a cigar. So I think this one's going to get better with age.
So I will give this cigar another chance. The problem I had with this cigar is it ran out of gas in the second half.
See, I didn't find it ran out of gas. Like,
And
I enjoyed it, yeah.
And that's why I'm listening to you, and I'm saying that I have to give that cigar another chance here,
Right.
which I will, because I have the same kit as well.
Okay. And so you smoked it before you got the kit, Will?
I had smoked it. Yes, I had picked some up when I was driving to New Orleans.
Okay.
At IPCPR, so they were already at the retail shop. So I picked them up in Alabama.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see, like, if you've got the one from the kit that's been aging for a little while.
Now that was a coffin one that you had, right?
It was in a box. You see the picture of it?
Yeah.
It was in a cardboard
box. Right?
Cardboard box. Yeah. It was like a coffin, but it was a cardboard box style coffin. Yeah.
Yeah. See, the ones I bought, I believe it was celloed when I got them.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right. They may have just packaged some of those for us that way.
It was interesting is a good word to describe it, right? Those flavors were really interesting. Like I couldn't tell whether it was like good, bad, or indifferent kind of thing. Like, it's just really like interesting flavors. I mean, and that played in the making me think about the cigar that much, like makes it unique in the market. And to be unique in the market today is really
crazy.
Hard. Yeah. So I'm like, this is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So I liked it, Will. I would definitely smoke more. That's why I rated it a 5. Like I would smoke more and see how the cigar progresses because it had all of those kind of interesting components.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, like I said, it could be a lot of factors in there as well. Like I said, the ones I had didn't do it for me, but that was also, I smoked them when they were shipped several weeks out as well.
Right. So what else have you been smoking, Will?
I smoked a cigar by Puro Soul.
Mm-hmm.
The Puro Soul Maduro.
Robert Wright cigars.
Robert Wright cigars, yes. So he came out at the trade show. He came out with 2 cigars this year. He came out with a barber pole, and he came out with a Maduro. And I smoked the barber pole, and I thought it was a very nice cigar. The Maduro is actually a 5x50. It's a box press as opposed to the rest of the line.
I'm sorry, Will.
Paul has destroyed
I
himself.
am
with
destroying
ash.
myself with ash. The chair, the floor. It's on my socks and shoes and my pants.
We are now growing out of volcanic soil.
Yes.
There is so much ash all over this studio right now.
You think but that's par for the course with us. I
It
mean,
is.
Yeah.
It is.
how many times have we? I mean,
Yeah.
oh, I mean, there was. I remember when I was up there for the anniversary show. I was ashed all over the place. One
And it was
segment.
from my cigar. It wasn't even Will's cigar. Like
Exactly,
I was ashing
yeah.
on Will.
Yeah, it was. I was covered in it. Yeah, so
Sorry, Will. Go ahead.
that's right. So this is a Honduran Puro, and it's made by CLE Cigars. So Puro Soul used to be a part of CLE. They broke off, but Christian Aroa of CLE is still making the cigars. That being said, I think this was a good Maduro. It has a definite a Honduran earthy component to it. It's got a little bit of cedar that you'll get, a little bit of cocoa out of that thing. I don't know if it's necessarily a cigar that's a radically different Maduro than you're gonna see on the marketplace, but it's I thought the flavors actually complemented each other well on this cigar. As far as the Honduran Maduro goes, I think I'd still put the Aroa CBT and the Florida Silva Maduro ahead of this one. But this was still an enjoyable smoke. Medium strength, medium to full in body. I gave it a fiver. Robert's cigars are all pretty solid and they're all pretty affordable, which is what I like about his cigars.
I went back and smoked a cigar that I think everyone thought was gimmicky, and a lot of people still to this day, I would think it's gimmicky. And it was made by CAO, and it was a Sopranos.
Oh, that's my dad's favorite cigar.
That is no gimmick.
Not a gimmick at all, right? It's the one that like took that gimmicky mold and just shattered it to pieces because it's a solid cigar.
It is good. Which size did you smoke?
I smoked the Boss, the torpedo.
That's my dad's favorite. My dad's favorite cigar, the 60 gauge torpedo.
Yeah,
the limited.
Yeah.
That was the limited one.
You had to buy one of the ones that looked like the back of the red Cadillac, and it came in that only.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that came with the Tony Soprano signature, that 6x60 that was in there.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking about, the Tony Soprano signature.
The Tony Soprano signature was the limited one. This was a regular production size. It was released. When was this released?
Oh,
This is
shit.
like 2006 or 7.
6 or 7, right?
Right in the peak of Soprano fever.
Yes. I wanted to see how this was smoking out. And this is a Brazilian Maduro wrapper. It's always been one of my favorites, especially in the Robusto size. That's not the Soldier. It's the... I forget what the Robusto size is called, actually. But unfortunately, I think age kind of made this blend kind of lose its punch or its edge. And it was still good. I was still rated a 5 today. But at their peak, they were fight Chuck Norris, in my opinion.
They were tremendous.
They were awesome. They were fight Chuck Norris at some time. And age has just kind of like whittled them down, I think. And which is unfortunate because it was such a great blend. And excuse me, I think what also is unfortunate is it was labeled as a gimmicky cigar.
Yeah.
And people that tried it, that were like, well, screw it, I'll try it. Were like, holy shit, this is a good cigar.
This is pretty good, yeah.
And people were buying boxes of them. Like, I took people that are like, yeah, I went and I bought one, and I was like, oh, I thought it was going to be this gimmicky thing. And then I smoked one, and I was like, wow. And these were kind of expensive when they came out, too, probably because they had to pay the royalty fee to HBO.
Yeah.
But I was like, actually, it was Danny that's saying and that's we got into trading cigars, and I'm like, dude, I got some old CAO Sopranos. I'm like, I'll give you some. Like, I've smoked a ton of them.
When I travel, that's my father's favorite cigar.
Yeah.
In that size, too. When I travel and I see them in a shop, I buy them for my dad because he loves them. I buy his many. And most of the time, the customers are like, yeah, I've been looking at this for 7 years.
Yeah,
so here, take it. So, yeah, that's my father's favorite cigars. And actually, on my last trip, I got 6 or 7 of them, and I gave one to Danny. He loves those, too, yeah.
What size was that again?
The Boss.
I smoked the Boss, which is the torpedo. It's probably a 6x52 torpedo.
That's not the Associate?
The Associate is a Toro. No, the Soldier is the Toro. The Associate is the Robusto, Will.
Okay, the Associate's Robusto.
Associate, I like the Associate the best. The Robusto was my go-to size. In fact, I bought a multiple of those 5 or 6 pack little Cadillacs, red, really shiny plastic boxes. I bought them on auction for like really cheap.
Yeah.
And then when they started kind of like dwindling a little bit and was kind of like, are they going to make any more of these or not? But some retailers still had a bunch. I bought a box of Robustos on like a closeout online. And I smoked through almost the whole box. I'm like, these things are awesome.
They're really good, yeah.
Now, they've discontinued this.
It is very much discontinued, which is kind of sad, Will.
Now, we just took on CAO as a sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
And I am trying to get Rick Rodriguez and Ed McKenna on the show.
That'd be awesome.
Because I've heard talk that they were going to do something with the blend.
Mm-hmm.
Keep the blend, but call it something else.
Something different.
But now I've heard some scutter, and I've heard some scutter. They may now keep the name. I don't know the answer to that. Other than I know in the past they've talked about keeping this blend around.
Yeah.
So we'll have to ask them to see because it was I think this got a top 25 rating in Cigar Aficionado too. I think it was
really.
I believe it did.
That would be interesting. That would be interesting. It's a great cigar.
Yeah,
it's one I'd like to go back and smoke.
Yeah. And when I see it, like I said, I go, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, the
CAO Soprano.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's usually like on closeout or something too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, one to look for to try.
Yeah.
No, I agree. It was a very very good cigar.
Well, what else you been smoking?
I had a cigar from De Crassier called Leforte. And this is a cigar they came out with a couple years ago. It is probably their most premium offer. And they make a lot of high-end stuff to begin with. This is their most premium offering. So this is a cigar that has a Costa Rican wrapper over Dominican and Nicaraguan filler. And I smoked the Robusto, which is a 4 7/8 by 50. Not an inexpensive cigar. It's an $18 Robusto. It is. It is a hell of a cigar, though, is what I'll tell you.
Really?
For $18, yeah. It is as the name indicates, it's Forte. It's a strong cigar.
Mm-hmm.
It's full strength, full bodied most of the way. It's got some earthy notes. It's got some chocolate notes. It's got some, a lot of De Crassier, you're gonna get cedar because that's the way he packages his stuff. So you're gonna get that cedar. You get this nice little orange peel flavor. I guess not quite a soury citrus note, but that subtle orange kind of that you'll get from the orange peel that just gives it a touch of sweetness there. That I think that cigar it really balances it out nicely. I reviewed this a couple years ago. I had it as a box worthy. I have it again as a box worthy. It's expensive cigar, but it is one worse if you try it and you like it, treat yourself to a box of these. He puts out a limited amount of these every year. Santana. Have you tried this one, Paul?
I have not. I haven't smoked some De Crassier in a long time, Will.
Okay, we'll have to get you.
Let's get me some. Yeah. Let's see if we can get some.
Yep. I have some of these in the house. So.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever smoked a De Crassier.
Yeah, we should smoke some more of those.
Yeah.
Especially based on, I thought they made more mild cigars, Will.
Well,
mild to medium.
Yeah, he does, and he's
the ones I smoked. I think were in the mild to medium range. So it's interesting he came out with a stronger blend.
Yeah, and he succeeded at coming out with a stronger blend. Now
nice.
I'll be and he's still a sponsor, so I'll be honest. When this cigar came out, I held off on reviewing it because it wasn't burning right at first.
Mm-hmm.
But it just that cigar needed to settle for a bit and for a few weeks actually, and then it just seemed to just the cigar kind of just came into its own. I thought.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had in my review cycle over the winter, I had a lot of cigars like exploding and cracking on me, and I'm like, I got some issues in my humidor, and well, you'll see the bill. But I ordered some. I had to do something, right? So I ordered a bunch of beads for my 2 gigantic humidors. So I've got one humidor that's like mostly my stuff, but some review stuff,
right?
Which has a lot of like my higher end kind of like review stuff. So it's got cedar in there and beads and cedar trays.
Yeah.
And then there's the other cooler, which is a lot of review stuff, which is mostly Ziploc bags and in Bovita packs, is kind of how we package them. But like, just the winter's been so rough. I put a really high-end hygrometer in there, and I was at like 57 to 60. So I knew I was low.
Yeah.
So I ordered some beads, Will, to counteract that, which I also think will help in the summer too.
Yeah.
To help kind of regulate. I thought, to me, that was the best investment because they're not only going to help me in the winter, they're going to help me in the summer as well to bring that humidity down. I bought enough beads to split between both humidors, so I kind of covered both humidors in like a $300 kind of bill, and these are big humidors. I mean, you've seen my coolers in there, like they're gigantic coolers.
Yeah.
So to spread it out across both, I did a lot of shopping around, and I'm like, I couldn't have done better anywhere else. Like ordering these beads in the bags to hold them in the whole 9 yards. I even think I ordered some. It was interesting. I ordered some the paraffin or the gum.
Pectin.
Pectin. Thank you. Paraffin's what they put on surfboards.
Yeah.
There's a couple of different things they put on. I want to cover it in a segment, Will, because I've been doing some research on it. Yeah, I did research it. The pectin, which is completely odorless, you can burn it and it doesn't affect the. It's what they use to put the wrappers on.
Yeah, it's vegetable pectin. That's what we use.
Yeah, to repair the cigars.
Yep.
I actually ordered some of that as well. And so just keeping a constant humidity in your humidor and temperature is so important.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Pectin will be a very good friend of yours with Paul syndrome too.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, just that, we smoke so many different cigars that we're trying to store in a humidor that you're constantly like opening and closing and constantly like putting new cigars in, and then cigars are shipped to you, and sometimes the shipping is like really short, and it's in the winter or the summer, and it's coming here to New England where the humidity and temperature varies by 20 or more % or degrees on any given day. Like if the saying is, you don't like the weather in New England, wait a day.
Yeah.
So
like it was 55 earlier this week, and tomorrow it's going to snow.
And you get him here, and I'm like, I want to put him in the review schedule or smoke him on the show kind of thing, and so you have issues.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
One cigar that I didn't have issues with, and who are the folks that Phil did the Cattle Barn? Cattle Baron, sorry, not Cattle Barn, Cattle Baron.
It was a gentleman by the name of Brian Moussard.
Yeah. So Brian's the man. And we're going to try and do a short little segment or do something. I'm trying to figure out how we need to grill steaks here in the studio.
Did he get you the steaks?
So I got steaks.
I didn't get the steaks. He said he had sent me the steaks.
I got the steaks. Maybe we'll wait till you come up here, Will. I got them in the freezer.
Okay.
Which I don't know is necessarily the best places, but
yeah.
I put them in the freezer, right?
That's where they are.
Yeah, that's where they are, exactly.
Right.
And I got the cranberry tea infused vodka.
Right.
That sounds killer.
I tried some of that earlier today. I tell you what, it's a very, very sweet component. I was surprised as to the sweetness, but the cranberry gives you kind of like a little bit of that bitter component. It's very nice, Will. And he sent us a ton of the Cattle Baron cigars, which Phil made for him.
Yeah,
I have not smoked one of those.
Yeah, it's a good cigar.
I smoked 2 of these Robustos.
I steal.
Oh,
I
my
steal
God.
before I leave.
Oh, my God. This cigar, pours smoke. Just pours smoke, and the draw and burn is just awesome. But as much as it like has an awesome burn, draw, and construction and pours smoke, it pours flavor too.
Yeah.
Solid, medium-bodied, and just full of flavor. And I love a cigar that has those 2 components where it produces a lot of smoke, it has an easy draw, but delivers in the flavor department. Yep. And this was my smoke of the week for all those factors. Because, it doesn't let up. It just douses you with tons and tons of flavor and tons of smoke. And I love that. I love an easy smoking cigar like that. And I just love this cigar. It's box-worthy. The Robusto is box-worthy, in my opinion, Will. And this, I tell you what, it's a box-worthy rating that is very, very close to being Fight Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
It's like a super box-worthy rating, in my opinion.
Yeah, I smoked that the night Phil was on the show a couple weeks ago, and I was really impressed with that cigar.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phil did a great job.
fantastic. Nothing like anything else in his portfolio, Will.
No, it's nothing at all. It's a value price cigar too.
Really?
Yeah, this cigar is like it's in the price of the Indian motorcycle stuff.
Yeah.
Really, $7-8?
Awesome.
Something like that?
Yeah, you're in that range.
No way.
Yeah.
I got to steal one
Awesome.
of those from you, Paul, before I
Awesome
leave.
cigar.
Did he send you one of the boxes too?
No, I just
Okay.
I got like 3 of each size.
Yeah, I got the because he sent me 3 of each size, but he sent me in the boxes.
Have you smoked and you've smoked the Robusto, Will?
Yeah.
All
I
right,
think
I'll
that's,
give my last one to Jared so we can get
Yeah.
his opinion on it.
Yeah, I have. No, he sent me cigars, so we're good with that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you the Robusto, dude. It's
I'll smoke it on my way up to New Hampshire.
oh my god. Yeah. And what's your rating on the Robusto? You think, Will?
It was box worthy.
Okay, so we're on the same page. So we'll see where Jared falls
Yeah.
on that one
I'm
and
really
report
looking
back.
forward to
Yeah,
this.
I'm curious to see if we all rate it box worthy, then you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like the more people that we can get on the show and rate, the better.
Yeah.
So that's good. Will, back to you.
So my last smoke is actually a vintage cigar.
Mm.
And it's kind of ironic. It is the Tatuaje TAA 2011 edition.
Oh, great cigar.
You know, when that cigar came out, I had a little bit of bad luck with it. I wasn't quite as high on it as everyone else. But this year when the 15 came out, which is the same almost the same size, I went back and smoked the 11 because I had some and I was much pleased with that. This is one of the best TAA blends that's come out in a while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is just classic peat, Connecticut broadleaf Tatuaje is the best way to put it.
And talk about rustic wrappers on our stuff. Look at the rustic wrapper on that one. I mean, it is a really
Beautiful
nice,
closed
and I
foot.
love the foot. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, what was interesting is I went and put one of these side by side, the 15 and the 11. And the press on the 15 seemed a little flatter. And I didn't know if maybe that 11 cigar from sitting in the humidor, if the press kind of expanded a bit.
Could.
Yeah, I was wondering that. I mean, they're the same size, but I have a picture I'm going to be putting on the Stogie feed of the two, where you can see that. But it still was a very enjoyable cigar. Definitely a box-worthy cigar. Paul,
Nice.
I got 15s for you as well. So that's another thing I owe you as well. Because I don't know if but the Tatuaje 2000 TA 2015 is probably one of the best cigars Pete's done in a couple years. I would say it's the best cigar he's done since the Black Label Corona Gorda.
I have some TAA Tatuaje, and I don't remember what year it is. It might be a 2012.
And interesting, the 12 is coming back as the 16 this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might
But
have
I
a
love
12
the
in my
12.
collection. Yeah, I'm
A
not
lot-
sure which
the-
one I have in my collection. I think it might be the 12, though.
They age great, these cigars.
There's
They
The
gonna
only,
do.
one the only one that was a total miss, I just never got into the 14. Just never did it for me.
I don't know. I've smoked a lot of the TAA from various manufacturers. The earlier
Overrated.
Tatuaje ones really impressed me the most.
Oh, yeah.
To be
That's what I
honest
was
with you.
saying.
Yeah,
They
There's
seem
too
to
many
be the one that got the most momentum behind the TAA thing.
I agree.
This year, TAA is coming up. It's going to be
Next week.
in next week, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're going to see a lot of interesting stuff. Like I know LFD just announced that they're going to a vote
Like last
for their
year.
TAA blend. Yeah,
Yeah,
so you can
when we
actually vote
talked
on
with
it.
them, they were working on it, and they showed us some of the
Yep.
prototypes in the video.
Yep, they announced it today, so they're actually going to a vote.
Yeah, and I think that was a really, really key move. But you guys did a couple of releases for the TAA that I enjoyed. The 685 Woodlawn was originally released as an early TAA release. And then I love that classic Reserva you came out with last year.
Yeah, the classic Reserva was good too.
That was an
yeah.
early release. It wasn't an exclusive, but you guys did an early
Yeah.
release. Like
Now,
And
I haven't smoked a ton of TAA because where's the closest TAA retailer in New England? Twin Smoke Shop.
in
Where's
Londonderry or Derry, New
Twins?
Hampshire.
That's
Kurt
Kurt Kendall's in Londonderry, New Hampshire.
Yeah. It's so.
And that's
so
that's
it's
not
really
that's not near here. Like Dave Garofalo's shop is a closer, and Londonderry's what
London-
15 minutes or
Londonderry's
20 minutes
20
north.
minutes
Right.
north of Two Guys. Well,
That's
it's
still pretty
close
far
for
from-
it's close for.
Well,
Dave
you
is-
travel
in
for
my,
your job.
In my
You-
mind,
yeah.
it's close.
But
But
like
They
for
just-
me, like I'm not gonna like I have a family and kids and stuff, and so like when I go to the cigar store, like we're running errands in Rhode Island, so I'm never more than 10 or 15 minutes from a cigar shop. So even like when I picked up some of the Winston Churchill and something else, I picked up a couple of Lennox. We were like on our way driving right past the cigar shop, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to run in for 15 minutes or not even and just pick up some cigars kind of thing. So like where is it Salem, New Hampshire?
Salem, Salem's on
and
the
then
border.
Londonderry is 15, 20 minutes north of that. But how far is that from here? You're gonna go there tonight.
Yeah, it's maybe 2 hours.
2 hours from here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't be like on a Saturday, hey, family, guess what? We're going to New Hampshire today.
Well, you know what I could do is I can do a TAA run.
That'd be awesome.
Because they merchandise them all together.
Yeah.
And I could just be like, boop, 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 and grab a couple of
I would love
of that when I'm on the road.
Because there's no store in Rhode Island that has TA
The
stuff.
closest store,
Yeah.
I have a few in my territory. I mean, it's Twins. It's
From
out
Connecticut, right?
Yeah.
What's the shop in Connecticut that has it?
No, there's not one in Connecticut.
There isn't one in Connecticut. Okay.
Two guys and Twins, I think.
Two guys and Twins. Two guys would be the closest.
Okay.
And then Twins. And then you
I
have
picked up a
Edley's.
Padron TA when the last time I was at Two Guys.
Yeah, two guys. Yeah, two guys.
I
would
bought
be
it
the
from
closest.
Jonathan, actually.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, my God, I don't get any TAA stuff in Rhode Island. This
and
is
then
great. Yeah.
Edley's Tobacco out in Albany, New York is TAA. I mean, it's an exclusive club, and it's exclusive for manufacturers, too. It's really, the waiting list is a mile long for shops to get
on
TAA.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we have a TAA shop in Charlotte. Now, I'll be honest, though, a lot of them have been overrated.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's too many of these releases that come out now. There used to be, it was like a hand. Now there's like, last year there were 10 new blends they put out. I think that's way too much. And, my opinion, what they should be doing, Jared, is all these cigars should be banded with a TAA band, and they should have samplers. They should be putting samplers out of all
agree.
these. I mean,
that would be a very good idea, but
they're never gonna do it. It's never gonna happen.
But we're never gonna do it.
And I wish they would do at least. But I wish they would do at least one in each state.
They should, but again, it's an application. It's an application process,
right?
That you go through for the TAA. You get recommendations from manufacturers, and there's so many manufacturers. There are so many retailers that want to be on it. And the most important thing to remember about TAA is it's not a social club. It's a group that buys cigars together. Mm-hmm. They buy as a unit. When you go to TAA, they have a thing called the Dream Machine, and all of the retailers that are there bid on commit to buying a certain amount of boxes, and that brings the manufacturer's discount better or deals better. Okay, so it's a buying group at its core.
Yeah.
So they don't just want to invite Joe's Smoke Shop because Joe really likes TAA cigars, because Joe's Smoke Shop, this is just an example, there's no Joe's Smoke Shop. I mean, I'm sure there is, but I'm not referring to it.
I gotcha.
But they can't just invite Joe's Smoke Shop.
It's a volume thing.
Who's going to show up in sweatpants and not spend any money. We need retailers there that look great, that love cigars, that have a great staff, that are well established, that represent the TAA brand and represent the manufacturers' brands, that are going to buy stuff and justify their time and show up to the convention every year. So it's much more stringent than other sort of organizations.
And then usually they also try to. I think there is some territorial geography as well, protected as well.
Yeah, you want to make sure that being a member of the TAA is as exclusive as the application process is hard.
Right, because if they're doing, if you're doing that amount of buying, then you don't want someone else coming in that close. Yeah. It doesn't benefit anybody.
You want to be the only choice for sell-through for that SKU in that market. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
This is a timeless blend, literally and figuratively. Of course, the Nat Sherman Timeless. This is their Dominican version, which I know because this Hermoso is a short. I would call it a short perfecto in this blend. A really great size, though. And I've smoked a few different Nat Sherman Timeless blends in different sizes, and I've never smoked the Hermoso, which is in the short perfecto. And I tell you what, this sized to me so far as the bell of the ball, although their short little Petit Corona is pretty good.
Yeah.
But this one really impressed me just because the size. And when you light it, you got to work a little bit, to get it going. And once it gets going, it makes some great change ups and it hits that middle point. It really opens up and then it finishes great. Just a lot of great things going on about this cigar. It lets you know it's there strength wise. Dominican blend, but not anything mild. I would call it medium full. I wouldn't even call it medium. I call it medium full in this particular blend. And it was very enjoyable. Great flavors. I'd call this a box split, in my opinion. This is a great cigar. Great cigar.
Yeah, I love the Timeless. Yeah, and they just announced this week some new bands for the Timeless. The Dominicans are getting red secondary bands, and the Dominicans are getting red secondary bands. And then there's a Nicaraguan Timeless.
Correct.
That's getting a black secondary band. That's a box press.
And I saw on their website, Will, the Hermoso in this Perfecto size is not offered in the Nicaraguan.
No, they're totally different sizes that are offered in each. Totally different blends, totally different factories, totally different sizes. But I think the Dominican one is much better. The Nicaraguan one's a good cigar, but I think that
with the Dominican. Yeah.
I think that Dominican Timeless is really an excellent cigar.
And it has to be the one that has that Petit Corona, right? Or is that the Nicaraguan?
Oh, it's a box press.
It's a box press like Petit Corona?
If it's box press, it's Nicaraguan.
Oh, so it was the Nicaraguan. Okay, so it's in the Nicaraguan, tried in the box press Petit Corona. Love that one. In the Dominican, I like it in this size.
Okay.
Interesting.
And it was a bit of and if we're confused, I think that's why they made some of these banding changes.
I agree. I agree. The bands do look very similar.
They're identical. I would have loved to have just seen it say Dominican or Nicaraguan on it.
Yeah.
But that's what they chose to do. But it will get easier.
What else you got, Will? Is that it?
That's it.
More ash on myself. Good Lord. And what is our prize pack for this week? Can we put up, I think it's a Rocky Patel. Oh, it's a really bad picture.
But they get the sticker, right? That's the sun grown.
Yeah.
It's a sun grown. It's a Rocky Patel.
Maduro.
Yeah, sun grown Maduro in the box pressed Robusto size.
With the Socialism Sucks sticker.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Which is germane to the current political climate.
It is. It is. It's a great sticker. I like it. Hold on, let me look up what the question is. I had to really, really search with this question. And this is episode 177, right?
Yep.
Okay. So the question is for the 177 prize pack of Rocky Patel sun-grown Maduro Robustos in the box press size. What is the story behind Culebras, which are collections of 3 cigars twisted together? Where does these originate from? What's the story behind these?
Oh, I know that.
Culebras?
Culebra, yes.
Okay.
What did I say? Culebra?
Yeah, I didn't know if you said Colibri for a second. That's why I was...
No.
Culebras.
Culebras. Yep.
Yeah. I'm pretty sort of liberal about this because in reading some articles, there's like the story of why, and then there's like the other like real reasons why for some of the cigar media that have done a lot of research into it. So I'll be pretty kind of liberal with the answer for this one because there are some different stories out there. So I'll accept either. It's kind of like there's like a legend behind
a folksy story,
like the folk tale as to how this came about, and then there's some people who've done a lot of research into some of the more like marketing reasons why this particular. I wouldn't call it a size. Is it a size?
It's
more so than it's a size and a packaging. I would call it. Right? Because a Culebra is
a shape and I would say it's a shape and a packaging.
It's a shape. It's a shape and a packaging. The size can vary. You're absolutely right, Will. But they're underfilled cigars that are twisted together, and I've always been amazed as to how well they smoke.
Yeah,
and I think that's because they're a little underfilled to make them burn in that kind of twisted shape.
You know what's weird about those cigars when they're twisted together, they look beautiful. And you pull those apart, and they look like
They look awful.
They look
They look
terrible.
like shit. I mean,
Yeah.
And
There's no way around.
Culebra means snake. Does it mean snake in Spanish? Someone correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know that.
I'm not.
I speak Spanish and I don't know
Yeah.
that.
I think it does. I think it does.
I hope you're right, Paul.
I hope I am too, otherwise I'm going to look like a complete jackass. No, it doesn't mean snake. What does Culebra mean in Spanish? Someone help me out. No, it means snake.
It also
does.
means
It means snake. It does, yeah.
Yeah.
As I was reading through some of the articles today to make sure that
Yeah,
we
'cause
had
if I was
valid
gonna-
answers
yeah.
to the question.
If
Yeah,
I was going to say
it's
snake, I
snake.
would say
It's
something
snake.
different.
Something different, yeah.
It's definitely a snake.
But like you can't like rest it in the ashtray, and it just looks kind of weird when you smoke it. But it's one of my most favorite sizes to smoke because it's so cool. I'm just keep ashing all over my.
You are
There's
disgusting
just
right
ash
now, Paul.
how we're smoking the same damn cigar. There's not one bit of ash on you, but I'm covered in it, dude. Like from my pants down to my socks and shoes, all over the floor, the chair,
Your
everything.
pants went from like gray to white.
It's
terrible.
It's terrible. Anyway, so that's the question. Email the answer to the show at StogieGeeks.com.
Culebras.
We will pick a winner 2 weeks after the show is released. So you can listen to the live show, you can watch the videos, or listen to the audio. 2 weeks after the audio is released is when we close out our contest, and we will send it to you along with the Stogie Geeks Smoke Naked t-shirt as well.
Yep.
Cool.
You were motioning like you wanted to give something away.
I do want to give something away.
Okay, next week.
We'll do it next week. You've ashed
It's
again
hard.
on yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it happen.
Yeah,
It's on the floor.
We do appreciate it though. Yeah.
Yeah,
We do.
Yeah, we'll give
It's-
something
we're-
away next week.
Give us a prize pack. We'll label it, and we'll give it away in a show. We
Done.
promise.
Christoph
Thanks,
Cigars.
everyone, for watching the Stogie Geek Show. Thanks to Jared and, of course, Will Cooper on the lines from the very special living room in North Carolina.
From Nana's Den, live from Nana's
Nana's
Den.
Den. We'll see everyone next week. Thanks for watching.